مصاحبه سیمای آزادی با خاویر سارسالخوس، رئیس کمیسیون آزادی‌های مدنی، عدالت و امور داخلی پارلمان اروپا.
سلام به شما بینندگان عزیز سیمای آزادی تلویزیون ملی ایران. همراه هستیم با آقای خاویر سارسالخوس، رئیس کمیسیون آزادی‌های مدنی، عدالت و امور داخلی، عضو کمیسیون رؤسای کمیسیون ها در پارلمان اروپا. ایشون از نمایندگان برجسته اسپانیایی پارلمان اروپا هستند. با ایشون در رابطه با مسائل مختلف مربوط به ایران، موضع اتحادیه اروپا در رابطه با ایران، حمایت خودشون از مردم ایران و محکومیتی که در قبال نقض حقوق بشر توسط رژیم آخوندی دارن صحبت و گفتگو میکنیم. Hello dear Mr. Sársalkhos, welcome to this interview and thank you for your time.
I'm glad to have been invited, and I really thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Last week, you participated in a conference with the presence of many other MEPs from various groups and also various countries. You said in that conference, the women in Iran are at the forefront of real resistance against the Iranian regime. Their role in this fight for a free and democratic Iran is essential. Why do you think the role of the Iranian women is essential in this fight?
Well, because they are the most powerful strength for change. I'm sure they represent the values that we all would like to see in Iran, and they have shown determination, they have shown boldness, and they have shown an enormous sense of dignity in order to preserve and to reassert their own rights. That's an extremely powerful message, and I think that the regime knows that very well, and that's why they fear women.
And how do you assess the conference last week? How was it? Which impact could that have with you and your colleagues being there, speaking with also the opposition there?
I can tell you that I was extremely satisfied. I think it was a very timely event at the beginning of a new mandate with a new European Commission, with important internal changes in the member states, and and it was a conference that allowed us to take a stock of what has been happening. And in my opinion, it was clear that a lot of political forces in Europe are advocating for a full review of our approach to Iran in order to protect, in order to facilitate, in order to empower the Iranian people. That is what our commitment is all about. It will be for Iranians to decide on the future, but they have to be allowed to do so. So we have to empower democratic forces that want to give the say to the Iranian people. And that was what this conference was about. And I think the presence of Mrs. Rajavi, who is always very inspiring, in this particular case was particularly important because, as I say, I think we are at a turning point, at a defining moment in what is going on in the region, in Iran, and in our relations with Iran.
In your speech, I remember that you spoke about the new policy towards Iran, and you're referring to that right now. There's a new commission which has been approved by the European Parliament. What are your main expectations from the European Commission, from the European governments and the EU as a whole for its new policy which you are calling for towards the Iranian government?
First thing that we have to do is to be realistic. That means that we have to acknowledge that the policy of appeasement has failed, has dramatically failed, and that is a risk. That Iran is now actively present. The Iranian regime is actively present in all the fronts of destabilization, be it Ukraine or allied with their proxies in order to destabilize the Middle East. Iran is a global actor in destabilization, and we have to take a stock of that. Second, Iran is a country that have no doubt the overwhelming majority wants to be an actor of peace and wants to play a stabilizing role both in the region and in the world. So we have to acknowledge that Iran shouldn't have, the regime shouldn't be allowed to have military nuclear capacity. And the third important issue is that we should finish that talk about hardliners and moderates. As long as the regime is there are no moderates. It's absolutely a full contradiction, and certainly we need to take very specific and clear steps. And for most of the parliament, for the overwhelming majority of the parliament, one of these crucial steps should be the listing of the Revolutionary Guard as a terrorist organization.
A year ago, one of your former colleagues, Dr. Alejandro Quadras, was the target of an assassination attempt in the heart of Madrid. What do you think about the terror export from Iran that now has reached the streets of some of the European countries, and what should the European governments and the EU do?
Again, once the plot with agents directly linked to the Iranian regime have been exposed, then it's clear that the Iranian regime is not only using proxies in wars, but it's also using proxies in order to kill their opponents or those who are committed with the Iranian democratic opposition. That is quite clear now. We know that. They know that we know, and we need to have a clear response in terms of the internal security, because now in which we can see the terrorist threat more or less contained, again, Iran has resumed terrorist activities in our countries.
At the end of the interview, I would like you to directly talk to the Iranian people who will watch your interview inside of Iran. What would be your message to them?
The message is that first, we know your effort, we know your sacrifice, we know how brave you are. Second, you're not alone. And third, we will accompany you until the end of this road, which is a free and democratic Iran for all Iranians.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sارسالخوس. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
مصاحبه سیمای آزادی با پتراس آستراویچیوس، عضو کمیسیون خارجه پارلمان اروپا از لیتوانی در مقر پارلمان اروپا در استراسبورگ.
Hello, Mr. Sársalkhos. Welcome to this interview. We are very glad to have you with us.
Pleasure. Looking forward.
Yeah. So I want to begin asking you about the conference last week in Brussels, where the MEPs had invited Mrs. Rajavi and you as the co-chair of the Free Iran group. You chaired the conference. How was the conference, and how did you feel about the speeches over there?
First of all, my best regards to strong supporters of resistance movement in Iran, world around. Be united, don't lose hope, do everything, every day, something for common cause in order to see free, democratic and sovereign Iran. I believe in this vision, by the way. And at our conference, which was rightly mentioned by you a week or two ago in Brussels, it was the first such scale, big-scale conference for a newly elected parliament. For us, it was occasion, to see all the supporters in one room, all the members of European Parliament who are sympathizing, supporting, working together for free Iran cause. And, it was a big hall, I can tell you, filled with people supporting national resistance movement, which is okay. I saw many very enthusiastic faces, people who probably dedicated their lives, I should tell you this, for this policy line. And it was a good exchange. I think we didn't change the course. Some people are new in the European Parliament. We need to involve them, to explain. So that's why we listened with great interest to the 10 points plan presented by Madame Rajavi. I personally remember very well, very eloquent but clear kind of mission description, all right, by Madame Rajavi. No compulsory hijab, no compulsory religion, and no, dominating state. So this is very important. I think it coincides with views of many Democrats in Europe, worldwide. And I hope we will continue working hand in hand, because a fight for freedom, it's not like you are in kitchen. I mean, you bake a nice cake and it takes 1 hour. I mean, fight for freedom, it's something. Sometimes it takes years, sometimes decades, but it's most important, to have partners next to you and to see a goal, to be mobilized and never lose a hope.
So what would be in that direction, what would be your advice, policy advice to the European Union towards the Iranian government? What policy recommendation do you have for them?
Well, I think we have many recommendations, and firstly, we have to constrain. We have to, never give up to those aggressive policies coming from Tehran regime for the time of being. It really become not just a threat for regional security. It's globally now looks very aggressive. Imagine, Iranians must be very carefully listening to, for example, discussions going on in Europe, and in particular in Ukraine, where Iranian regime become a symbol of aggression, a symbol of destruction, a symbol of killing, and kind of misery. So that's why, I would never wish, my country's name to be associated with such a kind of role given for a whole country. I know it's not about people, it's about regime. But we should never, just speak and believe that we did everything. We have to change the policy line of the European Union and the West in general. I hope will be no diversions from our main way how to support opposition, real opposition in Iran, and to try to constrain Tehran's regime. So that's why I don't think it will be easy, because I feel in the West there are some very mercantilistic interest towards Iran, and some governments are not necessarily very eager to change the policy line towards Tehran. But look, we are here in the European Parliament for this reason. So we will keep debating. We will keep this issue on agenda. We will keep sending letter after letter to High Commissioner, High Representative of the European Union, Madame Callas, asking and insisting there must be a joint plan of all European Union, and it doesn't matter what single member states do. We have to have something more tangible and really more affecting Tehran's policy. So that's why 5 years in front of us, but as the new commission is now sworn and will take chairs in already this Sunday. So we have to be busy in all committees explaining our colleagues what kind of a regime we're facing with for the time of being. And, we have to be very serious, because it really presents a great regional and to a certain degree even global threat.
As the co-chair of the Friends of Free Iran group in the European Parliament, what would be your direct message to the Iranian people?
First of all, it's a pleasure to address people of Iran. It's a proud nation, a nation which has long history. I wish, Iran and Iranian people enjoy democracy, free election system, as well as multi-party system in your country. I wish we are trading nations. We wish, to contribute economically to each other's prosperity. But first of all, with the present regime, which threatens stability in Europe, and we're very concerned about this. You are not on that side. You understand, what kind of image casualty already Iran has, globally speaking. I wish Iran is associated with really freedom and prosperity, not with wars and kind of terrorist acts. So that's why support opposition, which has absolutely different strategy for you in future. And we will work together because all, democratic nations, we have to be together. I wish Tehran and Iran see next to me with absolutely different understanding about global policies, and step by step. Look, we are very insistent and we are very, persistent in this regard. So we will do our utmost to support those who are working for the really fundamental change in Iran. And that's why I'm in this group of Friends of Free Iran. I believe in a different future of Iran, so that's why good luck for you. And I wish sooner, better rather than later, we will be in the same boat.
Thank you very much, and we also wish you and your nation all the best.